Alright, I think we're good to go on this. That's ready, that's ready, that's ready. Yep, everything's ready. Okay, ready to start then. Swoosh. Alright, hello! Shadowcat back, and we are continuing on our quest to build an entire Final Fantasy module. Which has been just a lot of work so far. We're not done yet. Still have so much work to do on this one. And today, today's going to be harder. So, we're just going to jump into this. But before we do, first things first, Happy Father's Day to anybody out there who's a father. I gotta call my dad later. Gotta do this first, then call. Thought about calling before, and it's like, no, bad idea, because then I'm going to have to start the stream. And besides that, he's 2 hours behind me, so... yeah, no. Do it later. But either way, it's a happy Father's Day. Thank you, Father. Give him a hug. If he's not there, then just pretend. Hug a tree. Otherwise, though, let's see. The music seems to be good in the background. I'm trying something different this time since the one that I was using before was just wildly, inappropriately soft and then loud and then just tired of dealing with it. Trying a different one. A little bit different background music. Alright, so today we are doing the Mystic and the Time Mage. One of them I think is going to be pretty easy. The Time Mage seems like it's going to be wildly, just inappropriately powerful, though. I'm not looking forward to it. And we have people in the chat already. So, good morning. Hello, JP. Hello, Blizzard Star. Good to see you both in the chat. See, I think the piano can actually come up a little bit. The piano is in fact 2 piano. It is in fact pianissimo. And now it almost seems too loud. I don't know. They can't keep this straight. I'm just going to work with it best I can. Why can't I get just some audio balancing in here? It's supposed to be like something to relax to. I mean, I guess it's relaxing if you're coming back from, I don't know, the trenches of France. Yeah, this would be relaxing in comparison. Alright, so we are going to need our usual equipment. We're going to need our browser, we're going to need our spreadsheet. There's 1. And there's 2. Good. So, as I pointed out before, we're going to be doing the Time Mage and the Mystic today. Specifically, we're over here on this tree now. So, this time around, we're going to be doing the Mystic and the Time Mage, and then, starting next week, we're going to move up for the Dragoon and the Golemancer, as well as the Orator and the Summoner, I think. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, though, let's go back to the Mystic. And let's start filling stuff in. Pull up the spreadsheet here. Right, so, Mystic. Mystics are the status mages. They're going to cast all the bad things that are going to make you have a bad day. So we're going to simply say roll is outlook not good. If you get it, you get it. Alignment, of course, can be any. And then we get into the actual numbers. So where's the grid? There's the grid. Alright. Weapons. Poles, rods, staves, and books. Pathfinder doesn't really have books as weapons. But I mean, if you want to, you can hit somebody with a book. I'm not going to stop you. Let's see. Helmet is hats, clothes, and robes. No shield. So basically we're looking at simple weapons and no armor proficiency. So simple and none. As far as the prerequisites go, JP got it. They want a level of white mage or priest. So that's going to be it. Under prerequisites, we're just going to say level 1 white mage. JP says books are weapons if thrown or swung. They are, however, generally speaking, unless you're John Wick, they're usually not lethal damage. Alright, move rate, jump rate, all that we can ignore. Base attack is going to be low. Which means we go 0, +1, +1, +2, +2. Next, base magic, no, base HP is going to be low. According to this up here, base HP low means they have a D6. And Blizz says, especially encyclopedias. Encyclopedias do mental damage. Yeah, that's strictly a psychic damaging attack. Alright, base MP is going to be high. Because it is a magic class, and high means that they get 50 MP per level. As far as class skills and ranks, here's where things are going to get a little bit weird, because we have to borrow this from somewhere, and status magic is not really something that you really do in Pathfinder a lot. Not to the same extent. And there's not too many dedicated casters for it either. So what I think we're going to do... is this. So we looked at the white mage. We went back to the cleric. And we said that we're going to borrow the stuff from the cleric. So why don't we do this? Why don't we look at something like, say, hybrid classes? What do we have here? Blood Rager, no. Arcanist, no. No. Okay, maybe not. In that case, let's look for archetypes. Is there any archetype that really fits what we're trying to do here? Let's see. Angel Fire, Apostle, Appeaser, Asmodean Advocate, Cardinal, Cloister Cleric, Devilbane Priest, Divine Paragon, Divine Scourge, Strategist, Ecclesiathurge? That's weird. Hidden Priest, Iron Priest, Merciful Healer... maybe not. Actually, hold on a second. Hold on. Where are domains? There should be a domain that I'm going to like here, I think. Spell casting for them. Cleric spell list, yes. Orison's channel energy. Domains, here we go. Cleric domains. JP says, growing up in the 80s, my dad made us copy the Encyclopedia Britannica word for word as punishment. That's rough. However, you probably learned a few things doing it. So, I mean, in terms of punishments, I guess there's worse things. Alright. So what I want to see here is see if there's like a disease domain or something like that. So air, animal, artifice, chaos, charm, community, darkness, death. Plague? Let's take a look at plague. Alright, so plague gives us all kinds of stuff. So we get the touch of virulence, which is a fortitude save versus disease. So this is as a standard action, you can touch a diseased creature and exacerbate its condition. Okay, so if it fails a fortitude save, the creature takes damage as though it had failed its fortitude save against the disease, and any remaining onset time for the disease ends. You can use this ability once per day at the 8th level, plus 1 additional time per. And they get Ray of Sickening, Contagion, Plague Storm, Horde Wilting, which is great. So we know that the idea of inflicting statuses and stuff is in here. The question just then becomes, how do we really utilize it? There is one other thing that we could look at. And that is, what if we look at druids? Druids are the embodiment of nature, and disease is part of nature. Do they have something in their archetypes that might fit this? Let's see. Ancient Guardian, Draconic Druid, Elemental. No. Let's see. Kraken, Leashy, Nature Fang, Pack Lord, Swarmmonger. No, I don't really see anything. Wait, hold on. Terrain archetypes. What about the Blight Druid? Alright, so devoted servants of nature, corrupted, ruined, destroyed. Blight Druids are the caretakers of the lands ravaged by natural disasters. While some are devoted to reforming and reclaiming lands despoiled by the ravages of civilization, others seek out a more rapacious violence inherent in nature and feed the creeping rotten decay that brings an end to all things. I'm sorry, did we start Warhammer 40k? Because it's starting to sound like Nurgle. We have Nurgle Druids. Alright, so they get a nature bond. No animal companion. But they can call a familiar as though a wizard of her druid level, or select from the domain of darkness, death, and destruction, in addition to those normally available. They have vermin empathy, vermin starting attitude of unfriendly. A blight druid can also improve the attitude of animals and mindless undead creatures that were formerly animals. In addition, there's also miasma. Yeah, I like this. Okay. So let's assume that the Mystic is basically the equivalent of a Blight Druid. Meaning that when we look at class skills, we're going to take from the Druid skills. JP says light druids tend to burn themselves out. Let's go with incandescent druids. They last longer. I'll do you one better. What about fluorescent druids? Fluorescent druids? Alright, so class skills. We got a few of them. And they're all good. So class skills, we're going to put them right here. And then we're going to go with default formatting. There we go. And we're also going to format this. And we're going to go ahead and say font. Size is going to be 7, I think. And wrap. Well, that didn't quite work out the way I expected it to. There we go, that's better. Actually, let's just do the whole damn thing. There. Alright, so there's the class skills. And as far as ranks, 4+ intelligence. Now, as for saves, we're going to be borrowing here because obviously the base attack doesn't match, but we're going to go 202, 303. And then we're going to go 313, 414. No, not 2. And then 525. Halogen druids. Yes! They can literally turn night into day. Actually, that's literally what the daylight spell does. And I'm pretty sure druids get it. Do they get it? I'm curious now. Spells. Druid spell list. Search. No, not bookmark. Yeah, they get daylight. There's your halogen druid. A 60-foot radius of bright light. And it is 10 minutes per level. So it's not just like a flash of light. It's just, literally, let there be light. And there is. I mean, is there anything brighter than that? The only thing I can think of would be potentially magnesium lights. Is that even a thing? Because I know that like there's like nothing that burns brighter than magnesium. At least if I'm recalling correctly, I think that magnesium burns the brightest out of anything. Alright, so we got our class skills, we got all that. That's good. Everything here is set. Now we just have to look into the actual abilities of the Mystic. So, the abilities of the Mystic is Umbra, which is blind. And in fact, we're going to go with the modern names. So we're going to go with Blind, Spell Absorb, and Life Drain. So, Blind, Spell Absorb, and Life Drain. Let's see. Pray Faith, Doubt Faith. That's going to be Belief and Disbelief. Okay, so we're not just going to go exclusive with those. Actually, no, I might do these the other way around. Let's go with Umbra. Empowerment. Just because they sound better. Invigoration. And then Belief. Disbelief. Corruption. Quiescence. Hope I spelled that right. Did I? I did not. That's better. Okay. Fervor, Trepidation, and Delirium. Fervor, Trepidation, and Delirium. How do you spell that? Yeah, I. There we go. Harmony, hesitation, and repose. Hesitation, repose. He's got a lot of spells. Induration. JP says, damn it, now I want a band of light druids on a campaign. It'll be Bulb, Incan, Fluoro, Hallow. Dark druids are now the Nightlights. That sounds great. Also, terribly unbalanced. Druids are so strong. Reaction abilities is Absorb MP. Support ability is Defense Boost. That's just a damage reduction. Movement abilities, Ignore Weather, and Mana Font. And that's it. Okay. Now, let's start translating this over. So, Umbra is blind. And I don't remember if we have spells that will do that. Let's just look. Let's see. Mud Ball that causes the target to be blinded. Burst of Radiance. Fear of the Sun. Ignoble Form. Spit Venom. Echolocation. Sunbeam. Sunburst. Well, maybe. So, Sunbeam will blind and do 4d6 damage. Sunburst blinds all within 10 feet, dealing 66 damage. Alright, well, let's look at a couple of these. Since this seems to be the strongest one. Sunburst causes a globe of searing radiance to explode silently from a point you select. All creatures in the globe are blinded and take 66 points of damage. It does have a reflex saving throw for partial, though. A successful reflex save negates the blindness and reduces the damage by half. Okay. Let's go back up and look at the lowest level spell now. Mud Ball also has a reflex save. You conjure a single ball of sticky mud and launch it at an enemy's face as a ranged touch attack. If it hits, the target is blinded. A reflex saving throw to shake off the mud... let's see. Oh, if the mud ball hits, the target is blinded. Each round at the beginning of its turn, a creature blinded by the spell can attempt a reflex save to shake off the mud, ending the effect. It can also be wiped away by the creature or an adjacent creature as a standard action. JP says, "Let there be light." Someone probably said at Hiroshima a long time ago. That is not what they said. Pretty sure the words they said was, "Oh God, what have we done?" Alright, so here's what I think we're going to do. We need a... There's not going to be any damage associated with this. It's just going to be blinding. So... I'm going to leave a column so that I can put in the cost for each of these so I can order them better. So Umbra is going to be just inflict blind. Since it's always a reflex save on these, I'm going to go ahead and keep it that. So it's going to be a reflex save DC of... How are we going to do this? A DC of... 10 plus Mystic levels. Meaning that it could top out at maybe 15. Which, 15 is considered to be relatively, relatively difficult for a base save. Alright, so next is going to be Empowerment. What does Empowerment do again? Absorb MP from the target. Okay. Then that's pretty easy. So this is going to simply be... drain. And we're going to need to determine how much are we draining. Let's go back and take a look at some of our previous classes. How did we do the healing and the damage? So with fire, it was 1d4 for every level. Fire was 1d10, then 1d20, and then 2d20. So what I think we're going to do here... I apologize for the cough because allergies. There's not a whole lot I can really do about it. I think we'll stick with the 1d4. So drain 1d4 MP. Well, 1d4 per mystic level MP. And yes, cough with a K. Hello, Tux. Good to see you in the chat. I love having people here. Makes me feel special. I mean, I don't have 3,000 people watching my streams, but the fact that I have anybody here watching it all makes me feel like I'm somewhat accomplished. Alright, Invigoration. Life Drain. Now, interestingly, we have spells for this. Okay? But we're not going to get them from the Druid, I don't think. We're going to check, though. We're going to go with Drain and see what this does. Siphon Might. Life Blast. Drain life from the local vegetation to launch positive energy. And JP says the K makes it more aggressive. Yes, that's why all German words start with K. Okay, there's only 2 spells that have the keyword drain here. So... Alright, here's what we're going to try. We're going to go over here. We're going to open up a new tab. Let's go to Arcane Spells. Because there is a Necromancy spell that will do this for us. Is it going to be Drain, or do I need to look for Steal? Energy Drain. Let's see, Dexterity Drain. Okay, maybe I need to look for Steal. That's Stealth. Steal Voice. Steal Breath. Steal Size. This is not going to work for me, is it? No, it's not. Oh, are you going to make me actually go through... You're going to make me go through all of this one at a time. Okay, fine. We'll do it that way. You want to do this the hard way? We'll do it the hard way. Go all the way back up to the top. Start from scratch. We're looking for Necromancy. Let's see. Bleed, Disrupt Undead, Touch of Fatigue. No. Alright, Necromancy. Level 1. Bed of Iron, Cause Fear, Chill Touch, Decomposed Corpse, Grasping Corpse, Itching. I know there is an ability in here that does this. Let's see. Blindness, Deathless, Blood, Bone Fists, Bone Shaker, Brow Gnasher, Dress Corpse, False Life, Ghoul Touch? No, that's Paralyze. Not quite that. Life Pact. No. Let's see. Sentry Skull, Steel Voice, Touch of Bloodletting. What about the next level? Catatonia, Deathwine, Eldritch Fever. Maybe not. Key Leech. But that's not what I'm looking for. Rave Exhaustion, Unliving Rage. No. Accursed Glare. I mean, maybe I'm not remembering right. There's got to be something in here for that. I know there is. Healing Thief. You siphon off half of all the magical healing the target creature receives? I mean, that's kind of cool. But no, this is not what I want. Aggravate Affliction, Animate Dead, Bloat Bomb, no. Ear Send, False Life, Fear, Flesh Puppet, no. I mean, I would have swore that there was something in here that allowed you to touch somebody and just sap the life out of them. Okay, well, I mean, if this isn't going to work, I suppose we can just house rule it ourselves and just borrow from the MP theft. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find it in here. Maybe I just imagined it. It's so common when it comes to necromancers in all of the games. I guess I might have just assumed that it was here. I must have just assumed. Okay, my bad. I guess it's not here. Clone is fun, though. Really high-level spell, though. Almost nobody ever gets to use it. And level 9, I don't think we're going to get it here. Because, let's see, Astral Projection, Canoptic Conversion, Cursed Earth, Energy Drain. Which, I mean, Energy Drain is kind of close, but you don't actually get anything from it. So, yeah. Not a whole lot that I can do there. Alright. Never mind then. We're just going to copy this. We're going to go drain that. But instead of it being MP, we'll do HP. And we're just going to make it there. Which means that, you know, depending on where you get this, maybe I should go through and actually put in these numbers. Let's see. JP needed 100, 200, 350. 200, 350. 400, 400, 300. $170, 400, 200. Starting with Delirium, it's going to be 400, 800, 100. starting with repose, it's going to be 350, 600, and 250. Well, 350, 590. We'll split the difference. Not that it really matters. 250. Defense boost is 400, and then 200, 350. Alright, so judging by these numbers, these two drains are going to be pretty low level. Should be able to get those pretty quick, actually. Now, belief and disbelief. So these will actually either bolster or they will drop the faith. Also, that piano is really getting aggressive. And see, the volume for that is almost turned all the way off. And it's still that loud. What is with you people that you cannot understand the concept of audio balancing? I mean, JP thinks that the K is what makes things aggressive. Is that why my name starts with a K? Yeah. Because I'm about to get aggressive. I'm about to get very aggressive all over this piano collection. And you know what? I'm trying not to. Trying not to. I did the temper thing in the last Meeple Station video, okay? I got it out of my system. You're going to make me do it again, though. Don't make me do it again. You're supposed to be background music. Stay in the background. Alright, now, belief and disbelief. Since we don't really have a faith stat, I know what we can do. And JP, you say I keep playing it, though. This is a different one. It's a different one. It's supposed to be better. I got rid of the other one because it was bad. Let's just talk about Meeple Station. In which case, Meeple Station I have to keep playing because I'm already invested. I can't just drop it in the middle of June and pick something else. I'm not ready for it. It takes time to set these things up. I don't have like an editor that I can say, hey, I need an opening for this series. And then just, yeah, have it back to me by Wednesday. No, I gotta do all that stuff. Alright, so, as far as disbelief and belief go, what I think I want to do here is I'm going to go back to spells. Owl's Wisdom. So here's the thing. Owl's Wisdom grants a subject +4 to Wisdom for 1 minute per level. The benefit to this is with a +4 Wisdom, that means that you get a +2 modifier on your Wisdom, and that modifier goes to your skills and your will save. So I think I'm going to borrow straight from this. And I'm going to say, as per Owl's Wisdom. And for disbelief, I'm going to say, as per Owl's Wisdom reversed. So you can cast it on yourself or your friends, or you can cast it on your enemies. Cast on your enemies, you give them a -4 to their Wisdom. You take away 2 of their modifiers. It's kind of brutal. Alright. Next is Corruption. Corruption is Zombie. Now, zombie is a unique status in Final Fantasy. There is really no such thing as that in Pathfinder, because the undead are just the undead. If you're going to be a zombie, then you're not really going to have much of a character anymore, because zombies are mindless. You'd have to have like a vampire or a lich or something like that. So we're going to have to make this different. That is to say that we're going to go with a will save. DC is going to be 10 plus mystic level. And we're going to say change type to undead. And Tux says Roddy Tops disagrees. I don't know what Roddy Tops is. So, I mean, they're free to disagree all they want, but it's not changing my mind. And JP says play zombie as Buster Keaton. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about there. I'd like to see Michael Keaton play a zombie. That'd be fun. Yeah, that could be fun. Michael Keaton can do anything, though. That man's amazing. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and make it real simple. It just changes your type to undead. So if you were human, you're now an undead. And that brings with it a whole bunch of other stuff. So when we come back here, and we go back to, let's see, we'll go back to the home screen. And where would I want to go for that? Oh, JP says Zombie is a silent physical comedy. I've never heard of it before. Is that an endorsement? Is it good? It's got to be really good, though, because I'm really just not into zombies. Let's see. Bestiary. Ah, here we go. This will work by type. Undead. Okay, so here's undead. So you could be human before, but when you become undead, your hit dice are really not going to change unless you level up as an undead. Base attack bonus is equal to 3/4 of your total hit dice. PC Unicorn's in the chat. Hello. What about skeletons? Don't really care about skeletons. Here's my problem with undead in general. They're boring. And this is what I need to explain to a lot of people, because a lot of people let me move my microphone here a little bit. We're going on a tangent, okay? It's tangent time. All right. Here's the thing. If you know anything about literature, especially if you are a writer of any caliber, then you should have learned about the major conflicts. Because if you're going to write a story and it's not going to be a biography or poetry or something like that, if you're going to write a story with any kind of plot, you need to have a driving conflict. Now, conflict comes from primarily 4 different sources. They are man versus man. Okay? That is to say, a conflict between 2 people. Next is man versus... I believe it is man versus... I'm missing one here. I can't remember one. So you got man versus man, man versus environment. And that is to say that you take a person, you drop them in the wild, and now they have to... Now you have to survive, okay? There's nobody who has actual malice against you. It's just the harshness of the universe. The third one, of course, is man versus himself, where they are their own antagonist. Usually this is something to do with psychology or trauma or things like that. And then there's a fourth one, I think it's man versus society, but I'm not positive. JP says don't forget the conflict within. Yeah, that's man versus himself. And I think the last one is man versus society, where you have the person who is up against, well, society. Whether that's government or church or just everything else. Okay? So you have all these different things. The problem that I see with zombies and skeletons and the undead in general is that people try to make it a man versus man conflict. The problem with that is when you go and you do that with zombies, zombies don't really have conflict. The zombie doesn't have malice. The zombie doesn't have anger or hatred. The zombie is just a mindless instrument of destruction. And the problem that I see is people try to turn zombies into these things. And they'll have people chased by a zombie through a thing. It's like, no, that's not what you want. Because it's never ever one zombie. And there's never anything you can really attribute to the zombie. When you use zombies, you have to treat them as a man versus environment conflict. A plague of zombies is no different than a flood or a blizzard or a tornado. Tuck says man versus self, man versus man, man versus nature. The fourth one is new? It might be, maybe I'm misremembering. It's been a long time since I've been in school. I thought there were 4. I thought the fourth one was man versus society. Maybe it is new, and I've just seen it somewhere. I could be wrong. You can fact check me on that, though, because, like, I'd love to be fact checked on that. But regardless, the idea of zombies is that they're no different than any other environmental factor. Much like if you had a story where you have somebody trying to survive in a blizzard. Okay, they're going to hole up somewhere where it's warm and safe. They're going to struggle with things like food and water and all of that, and it's going to be dangerous to go outside. Zombies are pretty much the same thing. JP says zombies are a natural disaster. Yes, that's how you have to treat them. Because you cannot ascribe the other things that you could with man versus man or man versus society. And PC Unicorn says, I Am Legend did man versus man with the zombie-like creatures. There's a couple of issues with that. If you watched the movie, it looked a lot like that. But in the original story for I Am Legend, they weren't really zombies, they were more vampires. So they weren't mindless. And you can absolutely do man versus man when it comes to vampires. We've been doing it forever because that is the crux of Dracula. The entire story of Dracula is literally just a man versus man story, the difference being that man versus man, in this case, one of them, is this immortal, super-powered, unnatural vampire. But Dracula still thinks, still feels, still plans, still schemes. Dracula has his own desires, his own goals, and it's where those goals clash that you get the conflict. And the thing about man versus man in conflict is that it's a conflict that can be reasoned with. You can negotiate with a vampire. You cannot negotiate with a hurricane. You cannot negotiate with a forest fire. And you even... I believe that man versus society is kind of a mix between those two, because when it comes to man versus society, the society has intentions, it has goals, it has plans, it has desires. But at the same time, it's really, really hard for you to negotiate with a society, because society seeks to crush the individual, but it does so almost with malicious intent. The Blizzard doesn't care what it's doing, though. The Blizzard is going to crush you. Why? Because that's just what it does. It doesn't want to. It doesn't care. It's just what it does. It's a mindless force of nature, which is where zombies fall in. The zombie doesn't care about you. It just wants to feed. It can't be negotiated with because there's nothing for you to negotiate with. There's nothing that you can offer it. There's nothing that you can convince. It is a formless, faceless force of nature. And too many times I see people trying to humanize zombies, and it's like, you can't humanize zombies. Even if you could, would you really want to? I mean, how interesting is a personified zombie going to be? It's also, like, one of the main reasons why zombies are so popular when it comes to things like Call of Duty, because you can throw just masses of zombies at people and you can gun them down by the dozens and have fun with it. But no one's going to feel bad about shooting a whole bunch of zombies. I mean, not that they feel bad about shooting anything else in Call of Duty, but the point is, you're not going to feel any worse about shooting into a crowd of zombies as you would shooting into, say, a thunderstorm. Because they're essentially the same thing. And Unicorn says, there was a zombie romance... I think there was a zombie romance movie, but I think that was a comedy. At least I hope it was a comedy. Tell me they didn't try to do that for drama. Guys, that would just be awful. Anyway, though. Getting back to the module. Okay, tangent over. We're circling back now. Let's see. Undead get good will saves. Your will saves aren't going to change. They get skill points equal to that. Sure. More importantly, traits. So, your constitution score would basically go down to 0. And instead of having a constitution score, you would use your charisma in place of constitution. Which is actually super easy because you get 1 HP for every point of constitution you have when you level up. So we would just subtract your level times your constitution modifier, and then add your level times your charisma modifier. So there you go. Let's see. That would also apply to your fortitude save and anything else that, applies to constitution. They gain dark vision to 60 feet. They're immune to all mind-affecting effects. Immunity to all death effects, disease, paralysis, poison, sleep, stunning. They are not subject to non-lethal damage, ability drain, or energy drain. They cannot take heal damage on its own if it has no cannot heal damage on its own if it has no intelligence score. You would still have your intelligence. Yeah, Tux says, I assume you'd still have a version of Intelligent Zombie. Otherwise, it's a fail state. Yeah, you would still get to keep your intelligence score here. We're just changing your type. Immunity to any effect that requires a fortitude save. Not at risk of death from massive damage, but is immediately destroyed when reduced to 0 hit points. And that's important. See, normally, if your character goes to 0 hit points, you're staggered. If you go to -1 hit points, you're dying. And if you go to negative hit points equal to your constitution, you're dead. If you're undead, however, the minute you hit 0, your body just disintegrates. Not affected by raise dead or reincarnate spells or abilities, but we have other ways to actually fix this, so we're good. Proficient with natural weapons, proficient with whatever, or with armor, sure. They do not eat, breathe, or sleep. And per the spell Magic Guards, undead creatures are powered by negative energy. Only sentient undead creatures have or are souls. This is important when considering any spells or effects which reference souls. And then obviously, if you're undead, it's going to automatically shift you to being an evil creature in like everybody's book. Unless you're walking into an evil area. And let's see. JP says, will save is Riker beaming in with his red shirt of defense. Yeah. Tuck says, template you put on the dead player if you want to show them up later after they died. Unicorn says, most Final Fantasy you cast Cure on them, it hurts them. Yes, that is true in Pathfinder as well. You cannot resurrect them, however, in particular, paladins and clerics who can channel positive energy can destroy undead that way. Since we're not really going to have channeling as such, we're just going to have white mages, the Final Fantasy rules will apply. So if you cast Cure on somebody who has been zombied, it's going to do damage. If you cast like full life on them, you will destroy them utterly. Let's see. Most undead were once living. Knowing details about the phase of existence. Yeah. Holy water damages them. Undead are invariably evil, as are the means to create such beings. Undead are healed by negative energy, harmed by positive energy. We just discussed that. They are immune to numerous magical effects, including mind effects. Now, the other thing that I will kind of disagree with here is the idea that undead are invariably evil, as are the means to create such beings. While this is kind of true, it's also very much subject to perspective. For example, if you exist in a town or village or whatever that actively worships an evil god, then perhaps if you have necromancy there, then having undead around would be just like normal. I mean, one of my favorite necropolises that I ever designed was just a massive bustling city. Think like Minas Tirith in scale. We're talking just thousands of people here. And here's the thing. Picture this entire like Minas Tirith-esque town, all built out of cut stone and things like that. But here's the thing. Here's what makes it different. The entire town is built off of necromancy. And this is what I love most about this. Most places will have some kind of guard or army to raise in case of emergency. Here's my idea. Every single time somebody dies, they're not buried. They're interred. They are interred in standing sarcophagi around the city. And they are dressed in armor, and they are buried with weapons. Then, they are interred within the sarcophagus, which is part of the architecture. It's like the cornerstone of a building. And then you can engrave their name, their family, when they were born, when they were died, anything else about them, so that you have a proper tomb for them. Meaning that family can come and visit them, or people can leave gifts and offerings, and they're laid to rest in this place. Of course, being a necropolis, it's run by a master necromancer of some kind. And in the event of a city invasion or something, all they have to do is cast Animate Dead on the city. And then you can have all of these generations of friends and family who have been interred in the very structure of the city rise. They're already dressed in armor. They simply grab the weapon they were buried with, and they step out of their tomb, and they join the civil defense. Could you imagine what it would be like to try and storm that town? In addition to whatever civil guard you might have, in addition to whatever army you might have, every single generation of people who died before coming back to defend the town. You could not call that evil in any respect. You could not even call the means to do so evil. I mean, I suppose, yes, if you were a paladin who just abhors anything undead, you're going to walk into that place, and then you're going to turn around and walk out and say, nope, smite this, smite the whole thing, I'm not going in there. But any normal person, any neutral person, would walk into this place, take a look around and say, wow, they've really got their stuff together here. I might not like it, but you know what? They got a good thing going on here. I don't buy this whole invariably evil part, because I think it's too narrow. I do think that Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and tabletop gaming as a whole has such a potential to expand and broaden views. This idea of just black and white, good and evil, I don't buy into it. Meaning that if you were to get or have zombie cast upon you, it might cause you some issues if you walk into the wrong town. Like, if you're walking into a town that is lawful good and you are afflicted with zombie, they might try and kill you on sight. Then again, if you're walking into a lawful evil town, they might take a look at you and say, oh, okay. Why not? They might not care. This whole idea of, living purity might be a foreign concept to them. Or hell, maybe you walk into a lawful evil town like that where the entire town is zombied. Why? It's a rite of passage. Maybe everybody gets zombie cast on them once they reach a certain age. After all, did you see the list of benefits? Dark vision, 60 feet. That's great. You no longer need to have, torches at night. Everybody just walk out at night and do whatever they want to. Immune to all mind-affecting things? Great. No ability drain, no disease, no paralysis, poison. Think about it. A disease-free city. Because they're all zombied. I'm not saying that you would act... Well, I mean, you might want to. I'm not saying that you should go out and get yourself zombied because there's some definite drawbacks. But yeah, I'm saying that it doesn't necessarily have to be an evil thing. Tuck says the Grey Necromancer, a necromancer that uses evil magic for good purposes. See, that's actually why I've always tried to differentiate between arcane necromancers and divine necromancers. because necromancy is typically seen as a wizard thing. But if you want a really strong necromancer, you get a cleric. Clerics are much better necromancers than a wizard ever will be. But the difference is, wizard necromancers, as a tendency, wizard necromancers will tend to be evil. They want minions. They're willing to kill people to raise them. They're willing to do a lot of things that are just really bad. And they're willing to use all kinds of very nasty spells. Like a wizard would be the one to go through and plague an entire town, to then lay the entire town to rest and raise it up as minions. Clerics, however, can do the same thing. The difference being, though, that a cleric is usually not about to walk into town and plague the whole town, because a cleric is usually going to be in the service of their god. And their god is going to have things for them to walk and wander and preach. And if you kill the entire town, then there's no one left to preach to. What you rather get instead is a cleric necromancer who's going to walk into town. And then, if somebody tries to threaten that cleric, or if the town happens to be besieged, they can walk into the graveyard, lift their hands, and have the entire graveyard crawl their way up through the dirt and create for themselves an instant army, and then use it defensively rather than offensively. I'm sure you could have a gray necromancer in the middle there somewhere, and even the cleric might be considered gray depending on your outlook. But I really think that we have a good use of necromancy and a bad use of necromancy. Again, like anything else, magic is just a tool. I mean, any of the magic schools can be used for good or evil. I mean, divination can be used to see the future. You could use this, or you could look into somebody's future to see what ills might befall them and help them avoid them. An assassin could also use divination to figure out where somebody's going to be at what time so they can be there to kill them. I mean, illusions can be used to fool people, to take their money, to take their belongings, or to get them to hurt themselves. Illusions can also be used defensively. They can be used as distractions to help people get away. They can be used to hide people. It's all either way. It depends on how it's used. So yeah, zombies gonna be in here. We're just gonna turn people undead. And we made that a DC 10 plus the Mystic level. Okay, that's fine. That's good. I can live with that. And I'm going to go ahead and align all of that. There we go. Alright, moving on. Because we're already past an hour into this, and we're not even done with the first one yet. Alright, so, Quiescence. That is the silent song. Robs a target of speech, rendering them unable to cast magics. In this case, it's going to be just silencing them. I wonder if we have the ability to do that. Let's see, we're going to go back. Oh, back too far. Let's see. Let's see if we can find something for silence. So silent image, silent table. Isolate. You cause a creature to become invisible and silent, but only to its allies. Silent image. I don't know of anything that is going to do that in the game as it is. I've never had to look up a spell like this before. So I think what we're going to do is this. We're just going to... We're going to do this one on our own. We're going to say a will... DC 10... plus... Mystic... level... cause... Well, since we're not using the actual spell list, we're only using what comes in the game. We're just going to say cause spells to fail. And that's all we really need for that. Yeah, because we don't need to think about the wizard spell list or anything like that. This is going to be completely standalone. Alright, Fervor. This is Blind Rage. Impart a thirst for destruction, rendering the target mad for blood. The effect is Berserk. Right, and Berserk means that in Final Fantasy a character can only attack. However, I think we can make this a little bit more interesting. Which is to say that we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say... will DC 10 times the Mystic level. And we're going to say that this is going to... inflict rage. For... 1 turn. Well, no. Well, let's get a little bit of randomness. We're going to say it's going to be 1d4 turns per mystic level. And so when we do that, if we come back here, if we go to Barbarian, and we take a look at Rage, because this is their thing. The entire thing about the Barbarian is their ability to rage. Starting at the first level, they can rage for a number of rounds equal to 4 plus their Constitution modifier. Let's see. Temporarily increase the Constitution such as those gained from... Alright, okay. So while in rage, here we go. They get a +4 morale bonus to strength and constitution, as well as a +2 morale bonus on will saves. In addition, they take a -2 penalty to armor class. The increase to constitution grants the barbarian 2 hit points per hit die, but these disappear when rage ends and are not lost first like temporary hit points. So in other words, if you have an extra 8 and you find yourself at 6 when your rage ends, you automatically drop to a -2. Meaning that if you've got an axe, you can technically chop until you drop. While in a rage, the barbarian cannot use any charisma, dexterity, or intelligence-based skills except for acrobatics, fly, intimidate, and ride, or any ability that requires patience or concentration. And a barbarian can end the rage, well, you can't end the rage in this case, and they are fatigued for a number of rounds equal to 2 times the number of rounds spent in rage. So you can cast that on a friend, you can cast that on a foe. Yeah, so this is good. So we will just be inflicting rage on somebody, and then they can go for it. So that one's easy. Next, Trepidation is Foxbird. Reduces a target's bravery. We don't really have anything for bravery. So I think trepidation might have to go away. How many of these do we have, by the way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 abilities. If we lose a few, that's not going to be the worst thing. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Well, then again, maybe not. So it reduces bravery, right? Actually, no, we can do something with this. So trepidation, since it reduces bravery, why don't we go ahead and just do this? We're going to say will save DC 10, Mystic level. Same thing as before. But we're going to say inflict frightened. Because that is a status effect. We come down here to game mastering and conditions. Frightened. A frightened character flees from the sorcerer sphere best it can. If unable to flee, it may fight. A frightened creature takes a -2 penalty on attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and ability checks. A frightened creature can use special abilities, including spells, to flee. Indeed, the creature must use such means if they are the only way to escape. Frightened is like shaken, except the creature must flee if possible. Panicked is the more extreme state of fear. Okay, so maybe instead of frightened, we go shaken. Shaken character takes a -2 penalty on attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, ability checks. Shaken is the less severe form of frightened or panicked. Alright, so we'll go with that. So we're going to inflict shaken. And then we'll say if used on a shaken PC, inflict frightened. If used on a frightened PC, well, maybe not PC. A frightened character, inflict panicked. Alright. So that gives, oh, I wrote frightened instead. There we go. So if you wanted to spend 3 turns just utterly tormenting somebody, you could. Oh, and I suppose I'll have to put a time limit on that, too. Or maybe just give you a chance to shake it off every turn. I like that better. You can just shake it off every turn. So, next. Delirium. That's simple. That's just inflicting confusion. Which we should have up here, right? Yeah, confused. So a confused character is mentally befuddled and cannot attack normally. You have to roll a D100. And if you roll 1 to 25, you get to act as you would. 26 to 50, you do nothing. 51 to 75, you do damage to yourself. And 76 to 100, you attack the nearest creature. For this purpose, familiars will also count. We're not going to have familiars. But just whatever is the closest in range, you will you'll attack them. So we're just going to go will DC inflict confusion, and then you'll just be able to get yourself out of it with a good roll. Next is Harmony, which is Dispel Magic. And I see no reason to change this. Yeah. So will DC, same thing as before. So you can try to resist it. Remove. Let's see. Float, re-raise, invisible. Regen, protect, shell. Haste, faith, and reflect. And because it says and, not or, it will remove all of them at once. Hesitation. Render the target incapable of action. In other words, paralysis. Now, do we have paralysis in here? Conditions. We actually do. Paralyzed. A paralyzed character is frozen in place and unable to move or act. A paralyzed character has an effective dexterity and strength score of 0 and is helpless. But they can take purely mental actions. Winged creatures that are flying at the time become paralyzed, cannot flap its wings and falls. A paralyzed swimmer cannot swim and may drown. Alright, so this is going to be, I think, a fortitude save, actually. So DC 10 plus Mystic level. Inflict, paralyze. And that's easy. Next up is repose, which is just sleep. And there is already a sleep spell in the game. So, inflict sleep. I'm not sure if that actually qualifies as a condition or not. It might. No, it's not considered a condition. Oh, no, wait. Asleep? It says third party. Character who is asleep is resting and helpless. A sleep character can be awoken by an ally with a special, or as a standard action. While asleep, the character takes a -10 penalty on perception, cannot attempt perception checks that rely on vision, can otherwise attempt reactive perception checks to notice changes in the environment that do not rely on sight. Let's see, sleep is a state of sleepiness, or the more severe state than drowsy. Well, I mean, hold on. Let's go back to magic. So we're gonna come through the wizard. Let's get back to the list. Because sleep is like a bread and butter spell for wizards. Alright, so sleep spell causes a magical slumber to come upon 4 hit dice worth of creatures. Creatures with the fewest hit dice are affected first. Let's see. A sleeping creature is helpless. Now that is a condition, I believe. H is... yeah, helpless. Okay. So we don't actually need to have sleep there. Helpless. There we go. And in duration is Petrify. So that's going to be the same thing as before. Since this is more physical, we're going to go with Fortitude. And say Petrify. And there we go. Next, reaction abilities. Absorb MP. Recover MP equal to the amount used by the opponent. I don't know if we're going to keep this or not. I mean, I guess I don't see a reason not to right now. So, equal to the amount used by the opponent. I don't know. That seems to be a little bit broken. I don't think I really want to use it. Yeah, I'm not going to use it. So, Absorb MP is going to go away. Defense boost. Take less damage from physical attacks. Yeah, actually, we can do that. This says it lowers physical damage received by 33%. We're not going to do anything quite like that. We're just going to say DR 1. Just a small damage reduction. Let's see, ignore weather. Traverse any marsh, swamp, or poisonous fen unimpeded by weather conditions. I don't know. I mean, I suppose that is something we could do. Why don't we come back and take a look at the druid again? Because the druids get something like that. I believe it is called Woodland Stride. So starting at the second level, the druid may move through any sort of undergrowth, such as natural thorns, briars, overgrown areas, similar terrain at her normal speed, and without taking damage or suffering any other impairment. Thorns, briars, and overgrown areas have been magically manipulated to impede motion, however, still affect her. Still, though, since we're already borrowing so much from the druid here, I think that this is fine. So let's go with Woodland Stride. And then Mana Font is where you recover HP simply by moving. That's gone. Alright. So it looks like we got everything set there. Now we have to order this. So starting with my 100s. So put that up there, and then Hesitation can also come up there. So there's my 100s. 170. Next up is going to be 200s. So Empowerment. Next is going to be Trepidation. And then Ignore Weather. After that is 300s. We can get Corruption. 350s. Invigoration. And then Repose. JP says, souls. Wait, who mentioned souls? Did I mention souls? I don't remember now. Let's see. Next up. It's going to be those. All the 400s will go up, including defense boost. In duration will go next, and harmony goes last. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the border from there. And we'll put that around. That is a lot of notes on there. But now let's take a look. So we're going to go ahead and separate these because we're going to need a larger grid. So first things first, let's go with Umbra, Hesitation, and Quiescence. We'll go Empowerment, Trepidation, and Ignore Weather. We can go Corruption, Invigoration, and Repose. That's all of our 300s. 400s, however, we have a lot of them. Belief and disbelief have to go together. So belief and disbelief. Then we have fervor, delirium, and defense boost. I think I'm actually good leaving defense boost for later. Am I getting all of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. So, I think I'm missing something here. Umbra, Hesitation, Quiescence, Empowerment, Trepidation, Ignore Weather, Corruption, Invigoration, Repose, Belief, Disbelief. Right, so I can have Fervor, or Delirium, or Defense Boost. So we can have Rage, or Confusion, or Defense Boost. Here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put Defense Boost here. And then the rest of them can go down in the last level. So you get a real bonus there for going to the 5th level of Mystic. So Fervor, Delirium, Induration, and Harmony. And that's not too bad. So by taking simply one level of Mystic, which is really all you need to advance, you'll be able to blind people, paralyze people, or silence them. And that's not bad for just one level. If you stick with it, however, yeah, that's some good stuff. That's a good looking Mystic. I think we did good here. I'm going to go ahead and file it. Especially since we've been at this one for an hour and a half, and we still have to get the Time Mage in. Alright, so Monk, Thief, here we go. Pasted, done. There's the Mystic. Lots of notes on that one, though. I knew what I was walking into today. I did not have any delusions that these were going to be quick and easy. So I'm not in the least bit surprised. There we go. Got that cleaned out. Next up is going to be the Time Mage. I need a drink, though. Ah, much better. Even I can only talk for so long. I know, I make it look easy, but it's not. Alright, so, Time Mage. Let's make sure that we got the thing over here. Good. Yes, we have the Time Mage. Look at their lovely hats. Alright, so, the roll. Stop. Hammer time. Yeah, I just think this stuff up on the fly. Alignment can be any. As far as the rest of the stuff goes, prerequisites. Let's go ahead and bring up the grid. Wizard or Black Mage. So, level 1 Black Mage. Magic points, I'm assuming, are going to be high. Yeah, they are. So that's 50. Hit die is going to be a D6. Class skills, since this is going to be a wizard as well. Can we just copy it over from the Black Mage? Is that something we can do? Yeah, that's something we can do. Copy. And paste. And skill ranks are going to be the same. If I can click on the right thing, 2+ intelligence. Okay then, now let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Since we are just copying the wizard, I think we can copy the Black Mage as well on the grid. So copy and paste. Let's see, base attack is low, obviously. Base HP is low, base MP is high. They still have staves, hats, clothes, robes, so this is still going to be simple and none. And that takes care of all the boring parts. Now we get into the fun stuff. So let's take a look at what they can actually do. Time magic. So they have haste, hasteja. Then they have slow and slowja. After that, they have just full stop and immobilize. They have float and reflect. They have quick, gravity, and graviga. Right? So quick, gravity, and graviga. And meteor. For reaction abilities, they have critical quick, immediate... Oh, receive an immediate turn when critically wounded. Or they can get Mana Shield, damage dealt to MP rather than HP. So, critical quick and mana shield. JP says chrono magic. Yes, we're getting into that. Support abilities is swiftness. And then movement abilities is teleport and levitate. And before we get any further on it, we may as well go ahead and write all these down as well. So 100, 575. 80 and 560. It's going to be 340 and 100. Float and reflect is going to be 200 and 300. Quick is going to be 850. Gravity, well, let's go quick, 850. My two gravities are 250 and 550. Meteor is 1500. I think that might be a level 5 ability. What do you think? Critical quick is 750 and 400. Swiftness is going to be 900. Teleport is 625. And levitate is 540. Alright, now we can get into the fun stuff. Starting with haste. Time magic that hastens the passage of time for the target, effectively boosting their speed. Now, what this does in Final Fantasy is it basically makes their turn come up faster and it changes their initiative. Kinda. Sorta. Because they use a different system where they just have to count up to a certain number. And whoever gets to, 100% first gets to take their action, I think, at least, if I remember right. Maybe that came in later? I don't know. It's been a long time since I played Tactics. I wish I could again. But, I can't find Tactics anywhere online. There's several Final Fantasies that are on, Steam. Tactics ain't one of them. But, anyway, haste is a spell that we have access to. Let's see. Magic. Spells. Haste. So here's what it does. The transmuted creature moves and acts more quickly than normal. This extra speed has several effects. Number 1. When making a full attack action, the hasted creature may make one extra attack with one natural or manufactured weapon. The attack is made using the creature's full base attack bonus, plus any modifiers appropriate. Let's see. This effect is not cumulative with such similar effects such as that provided by a speed weapon, nor does it actually grant any extra actions, so you cannot use it to cast a second spell or otherwise take an extra action. It just adds an additional use of an action you're already taking. Hasted creature gains a +1 bonus on attack rolls, +1 dodge bonus on AC and reflex. Any condition that will cause you to lose your dexterity also makes you lose the bonus. Let's see. All the hasted creature's modes of movement, including land movement, burrow, climb, fly, and swim, are increased by 30 feet to a maximum of twice the subject's normal speed using that form of movement. This increase counts as an enhancement bonus, and it affects the creature's jumping distance for normal increased speed. Multiple haste effects, however, do not stack, and it dispels and counters slow. Alright, so first things first, I think that we're going to get rid of Hastaja and Slowja. Because we don't have a better version of it, really. I mean, there is, of course, the mythic version. Which, I mean, I guess we could put that in there. Maybe? Let's see. Affected creature gains an additional move action each round. The movement speed increases to 50 feet to a maximum of 3 times the creature's... You know, we could do that. We could actually do that. And it lasts for 1 round per level. So we're just going to say... Grant haste 1 round per time mage level. This is going to be grant mythic haste 1 round per time mage level. And that's going to make that super simple. Now, as slow is also a spell, let's take a look. This is similarly only 1 round per level. The affected creature moves and attacks at a drastically slower rate. Creatures affected by the spell are staggered and can only take a single move action or standard action each turn, but not both. Additionally, it takes a -1 penalty on attack rolls, AC, and reflex. A slowed creature moves at half its normal speed, round down to the next 5-foot increment, which affects the creature's jumping distance. And then, of course, it has a mythic, where everything increases to a -2, and they move at 1/4 speed. And they are denied all dexterity bonuses. So we're going to say inflict slow 1 round per time mage level. And this is going to be inflict mythic slow 1 round per time mage level. Now, here's where things are going to get a little bit hairy. Because next up is Stop. Time magic that halts the passage of time for its targets, preventing them from receiving turns. Now, the reason this is going to get hairy is because there is a spell for this, but it may be a little bit too powerful. And that is Time Stop. Time Stop is a level 9 spell that almost nobody ever gets to use because nobody ever survives this long. This spell seems to make time cease to flow for everybody but you. In fact, you speed up so greatly that all other creatures seem frozen, although they are actually still moving at their normal speeds. You are free to act for 1d4 rounds plus 1 of apparent time. Normal and magical fire, cold, gas, and the like can still harm you. While the time stop is in effect, other creatures are invulnerable to your attacks and spells. You cannot target such creatures with any attack or spell. A spell that affects an area and has a duration longer than the remaining duration of time stop will have their normal effects on other creatures stop once time stop ends. Most spellcasters use the additional time to improve their defenses, summon allies, or flee from combat. You cannot move or harm items held, carried, or worn by a creature stuck in normal time, but you can affect any item that is not in another creature's possession. And you are undetectable until or while time stop lasts. You cannot enter an area protected by an anti-magic field while under the effect of time stop. So while that is really, really super cool, it is too powerful for what we're doing. So we may have to change things up a little bit. Time Mage. So we have two things here. One of them is stop and one of them is immobilize. Immobilize looks like it just stops somebody from moving. And then stop makes them cease all actions. Why don't we go back and look at conditions? Maybe we can work this out that way. So they're not necessarily going to be helpless. What could we do? I mean, helpless isn't prone. So there's that, I guess. Stunned? Stunned creature drops everything held, cannot take actions, takes a -2 penalty to AC, loses dexterity bonus. Or, hold on, what about dazed? Okay, so a dazed creature is unable to act normally. A dazed creature can take no actions but has no penalty to armor class. A dazed condition typically lasts for 1 round. So they don't take any penalty, but they can't do anything. And then stunned seems to be the upgraded version of that. The stunned creature drops everything held, cannot take actions, takes a -2 penalty to AC, loses dexterity bonus if any that it had. So what I think we should do is, instead of trying to just like do time stop, what we'll do is we'll say stop. Oh, and one thing that I forgot to put in here was DCs. So stop is going to be a will save DC 10 plus time mage level. And this will also be inflict stunned 1 round per time mage level. Immobilize is just going to be dazed. So, similarly, except instead of stunned, it will be dazed. And that actually works out pretty well. And according to the numbers, you will get dazed before you get stunned. So it's a nice progression. Next up, float. So, time magic that warp space, you can then float. What does float even do? Let's see, the recurring spell in Final Fantasy series. Tactics. This says nothing. It just tells you how much, it doesn't say anything. It just tells you how much it takes to learn, how much it takes to cast it. What is the point of float? Alright, so it causes the float status, which is generally used to avoid earth elemental attacks in battle while avoiding floor traps and damaged floors in dungeons. Yeah, this is... Not sure if we really have a use for this. Not as intended, anyway. You know what? I'm going to make this really easy. I'll make this really easy. We're just going to say float is going to operate as per levitate. Now, levitate is a spell that I'm actually very familiar with. I have used it on many of my wizards. Very useful. It's like having a ladder without needing a ladder. Levitate allows you to move yourself, another creature, or an object up and down as you wish. A creature must be willing to be levitated. An object must be unattended or possessed by a willing creature. You can mentally direct the recipient to move up or down as much as 20 feet each round. Doing so is a move action. Let's see, you cannot move the recipient horizontally, but the recipient could clamber along the face of a cliff, for example, or push against the ceiling to move laterally. So, there's that. And JP says floating disc. That's Tensor's floating disc, and it's a great spell once you're a high enough level. Now, a floating disc is one that I recommend that every wizard that I see played get, because Tensor's floating disc is amazing. However, it doesn't really come into its full usage until you're about level 8. Because floating disc lasts for 1 hour per level. Once you hit level 8, and it can last for 8 hours, it can then become your catch-all for carrying the entire party's gear. So when you set off in the morning to do your traveling, you have your wizard cast Tensor's floating disc, everybody throws their shit on top of it, and now nobody has to carry anything. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that here. So, yeah. Float is as per levitate. I suppose I should go ahead and put in the DC here. Yeah, JP says magical pack mule. That's exactly what it is. So this is a will DC 10 plus time mage level. There we go. All right. Need a drink. Also, it's getting hot in here. I cast Ceiling Fan. Super effective. Alright, so Reflect in Final Fantasy is exactly that. It just reflects everything. It's not very common in, Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, but there is a spell for that. And that is going to be Spell Turning. Spell Turning is a very high-level spell that almost no one ever gets to use. But it says, spells and spell-like effects targeted on you are turned back on the original caster. Abjuration only turns spells that have you as a target. Effect and area spells are not affected. Spell Turning also fails to stop touch range spells. From 7 to 10, 1d4 plus 6 spell levels are affected by the Spell Turning. Right. The exact number is rolled secretly. I think that means I get to roll it. Let's see. Whenever you are targeted by a spell of a higher level than the amount of spell turning you have left, that spell is partially turned. Subtract the amount of spell turning left from the spell level of the incoming spell, then divide the result by the spell level. JP says, you prefer counterspell. There's a difference here. Let's see. I don't think Counterspell is an actual spell here. Yeah, I don't think we have Counterspell as an active spell. The difference is, however, that generally speaking, the ability to counter a spell is an active one. Meaning that it would have to be something like an immediate action or a swift action, something like that. Whereas spell turning is passive. Once you've cast it, you can forget about it. For a while, at least. Because I don't think it lasts very long. Yeah, 10 minutes per level. Now, granted, this is a level 7 spell. So when we're talking about wizards who get these spells faster than sorcerers do, you get your first level 7 spell at level 13. It's 130 minutes, so it'll last a little more than 2 hours. Your truck is very loud. This is what I get for leaving the windows open. At any rate, yeah, that's a little bit more than 2 hours, which is still a long time, but it's not an all-day thing. Whereas spells like Mage Armor, when you cast them, they just last all day. Spell turning is good if you have a suspicion that you know what you're walking into. However, having other ways to counter spells is also good. I just don't think there's an actual counter spell. But we're going to go ahead and say... here's what we're going to do. I'm going to kind of split the baby here. So we're going to say that this will reflect 1d4 plus 6 spells rolled secretly. So you're never going to know quite when the spells are going to run, or your reflect is going to run out. Next, Quick. What does Quick do? Let's see. This magic that hastens localized passage time, causing the target's turn to come up more quickly. I'm not sure what to do with this. See, if we were playing D&D like normal, then I would say that we could use this to affect initiative. I don't usually roll initiative, though. At least not as they usually do it, because the way initiative is usually done takes too long. I usually do things more as teams. Think of it like something more out of XCOM or Phoenix Point or something like that, where we play one side then the other. I usually have everybody roll their initiative collectively, and then whichever team has the highest gets to go first. It makes things go faster. But here's what I think I'll do. For quickness, why don't we say, as an immediate action, add 10 to initiative. So you could, if you had this spell handy and you had the MP for it. Oh, we never figured out MP for these spells. Ooh. I'll have to go back and fix that. So, yeah, I will have to think about that. Alright, so as an immediate action, go ahead and add 10 to an initiative. So you could just like spam a whole bunch of MP and cast it on yourself and others if you wanted to make sure that you went first. How much MP does it cost? Range, speed, JP needed. Wait, MP cost is right here. Quick cost 24 MP. I don't remember. Oh yeah, it looks like we did keep all the MPs the same. So yeah, for quickness, 24 MP to cast it. That's going to be a lot, especially to cast it on the whole team. If you have 4 people in your party, which is like the standard for tabletop games, that's like 100 MP just to make sure that you go first. Is it worth it? I don't know. It is an immediate action though, so we're gonna keep that as is. And I'm going to take this entire column and move it over. I need to get these MPs put in. So, 830, 830. $14, $10, $8. Let's see, 12, 24, 24. $50, $70. And then the rest of these don't have an MP cost. There we go. Alright, so we're not going to need this critical quick. We can get rid of this right now because quick will already be an immediate action. It doesn't need to happen automatically. It's fine. So that's quick. Next up is gravity. Magic that conjures up a supermassive field inflicting damage with powerful gravitational forces. The damage is 25% of the target's max HP, and then Graviga is 50%. Yeah, because these are Demi and Demi 2. So I think I'm just going to leave these as is. So we're just going to say inflict damage equal to 25% target max HP. And then the next one down is going to be 50%. Those, I think, don't really need to change. Although, is it really max HP? I thought it was current HP. Because I didn't think that Demi could actually kill you. Maybe tactics was different. But yeah, I learned early on that Demi was not lethal. So if a monster casts Demi on you, you're generally fine. Alright, well, it's fine. And then Meteor. This one, I believe we actually have a spell for in Pathfinder. Not here, not here. Meteor Swarm. Alright, again, high-level spell that almost nobody ever gets to use. Meteor Swarm is a very powerful and spectacular spell, similar to Fireball in many respects. When you cast it, 4 2-foot diameter spheres spring from your outstretched hand and streak in straight lines to the spots you select. The spheres leave a fiery trail of sparks. Once it reaches its destination, it explodes in a 40-foot radius spread, dealing 66 points of fire damage to each creature in the area. Yeah, so this is basically just Fireball, but more. So let's think about this. When we go back and look at the Black Mage, the Black Mage has a lot of very powerful spells, including Flare. Flare is capable of doing up to 100 damage. So, what would make Meteor any different from Flare if we gave it the same damage? Because Meteor, what's the mana cost on Meteor? 70. So it actually costs more than Flare. And Flare is already doing 100 damage. I suppose we could buff up the damage even further. So let's think about this. Flare does 60, or costs 60. Meteor costs 70. So if I get my calculator out and I look this up, 60 divided by 70 is an 8.5% increase. So that will put it up to about 108 damage if I went straight by the mana. But that's not good enough. What if I said... I got it. I got it. We're going to say that for this, it's going to just deal 10d12 damage. Fire damage. And what's the range on Meteor Swarm? 400 feet plus 40 feet per level. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and just say as per Fireball, and we'll just borrow everything else from that. So that is a lot of damage. But, I mean, it's a very expensive spell as well. Alright, so we're almost done here. Next up is going to be Critical Quick, which we got rid of. Mana Shield, so damage is dealt to MP rather than HP. That's actually pretty straightforward. So damage taken how do I want to phrase this? Damage taken removes MP instead of HP. That's not the most... It's not the cleverest way to put that, but good enough. And I guess you could do that on a choice. So, as immediate action, it would have to be an immediate action because otherwise, yeah. So you can just use your mana to help shield you instead. As for swiftness, shorten charge time. Okay, so the biggest thing about charge time is that it doesn't affect too many people. The archer had a charge time when using its abilities. But we don't really have anything like that, so we can just get rid of swiftness, I think. What do we or how many do we have so far? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, yeah, I don't really have anything for that. I'm just going to get rid of swiftness. We don't need to have swiftness. Teleport. Very simple. This is going to be as per teleport. However, we will need to have special rules for this because we can't just have it be free, I don't think. Because teleportation is in here, and it is very powerful. Yeah, so here we go. The range is person in touch. So yeah, the spell instantly transports you to a designated destination which may be as distant as 100 miles per caster level. So I mean that's really far. It will need to have some kind of MP cost though. I got it. How about 20... Oops, not that. 25 MP. Well, no, because by this point, you actually should have a decent pool of mana. I'm going to say 50. So 50 per person. So to teleport your entire party would probably take you about 200 mana, depending on how many people are in there. However, because this is probably going to be a rather late one, the maximum teleportation distance is probably going to be 50 or 500 miles. That's a long way. And then levitate for the time mage. Move while floating at a height of 1 height above the ground. Okay, we can get rid of this because we already have float. So this can go away. And that just leaves us these. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and order them. So first things first, slow goes on top. Because it's less than 100. Next we have our hundreds. Oh, I didn't even go all the way up to the top. There we go. Immobilize. I think that's the last of my hundreds. 200s. Float. Let's see, what else? Gravity is at 250. Alright, 300s. Reflect. Come on. Alright, 300s. We've got stop at 340. For 400, we've got Mana Shield. Next up, 400s, 500s. Alright, Graviga goes there. Then Slowja and Hastija. 600s is Teleport. 700s, we don't have any. 800s is Quick. And then Meteor. And I forgot one. There we go. So there's all the spells and abilities for the Time Mage. Now we just have to organize them. We could do 1, 2, 3. Let's see. So this could be level 1, 2, 3. Maybe make that one part of 3 too. And then 4, 5. I think that works well. So, slow, haste, and immobilize. Float and gravity. Then reflect, stop, and mana, shield. Then we can go Graviga, Slowja, and Hastija. And at level 5, Teleport, Quick, and Meteor. That's pretty good. So for one level of Time Mage, if you just wanted to get to the next one, if you really want to just get into Mathematician, you just took one level of this, having the ability to slow, speed, or daze for multiple turns, that's pretty powerful on its own. Everything else on top of that is kind of just gravy. Especially if you really want to get Teleport. I mean, 5 levels into Time Mage to get Teleport is a really worthy investment. Having a dedicated Time Mage in your party would basically eliminate travel. Not entirely. It wouldn't entirely eliminate travel, but it would go a long way towards doing it. And technically speaking, when you're using Teleport, the problem with Teleport is this, right here. This grid. If you've never been somewhere, if you've never even seen it, then getting there can be hard. So, for example, the clear your mental image. Does it say anything about studying something with a map? Let's see. Very familiar is a place that you have been to very often where you feel at home. Studied carefully is a place that you know well, either because you can currently physically see it or you've been there before. Seen casually is a place that you have seen more than once but which you are not very familiar, and viewed once is a place that you have only ever seen once, using magic such as scrying. Then there's false destination, a place that does not truly exist, or if you're teleporting to an otherwise familiar location that no longer exists, or has been altered so much as it's no longer familiar. So you couldn't really just, like, look at a map and say, I want to go here, and then teleport to it. You would have to at least go there once. And even then, if you went there once, it would be considered viewed once. Or maybe even just seen casually if you stay there for a few days. which, I mean, is not terrible. And even viewed once, you still have a 3 out of 4 chance of landing where you want. It's just, you know, the other 1 out of 4 you gotta worry about. As far as false destination, though, right, you roll a 1d20 plus 80. So you cannot land on target or off target. Technically, I guess you could probably use false destination to try and teleport somewhere you know of, like on a map. But I mean, it's a gamble. Because out of the 20, because you're adding 80 to it, so out of the 20 that you're rolling, you have a... Let's see, 12 out of 20 would be 6 out of 10, which would be 3 out of 5 chance to land in a similar area, and a 2 out of 5 chance for a mishap. I mean, that's rough. That's super rough. Mishap. You or anyone teleporting with you have been scrambled. You each take 1d10 points of damage, and then re-roll again. And let's see, for each of these rerolls, you do another 1d20 plus 80. Each time mishap comes up, you take another 1d10 points of damage, and then roll again. A mishap can be instantly lethal. So, I don't recommend it. I would recommend just traveling there at least once, so that you then at least get to move up to this category. But if you needed to, if you had like no other way, it's an option. It's not a good option, but it's an option. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the Time Mage. Complicated, but useful. Especially with things like that mana shield. Which, it might suck because it's like you need your mana for everything, but if it saves your life... I think we can call this one good, though. Let's go ahead and fix this. No, I don't want to recolor it. I do want to remove the border, though. And then put the border back up here. And there we go. Good. Grab it, store it, shove it. Got all of it. Copy. Let's see. Thief, Mystic. Here we go. Oh, wait. Hold on. Need to go down one more. There we go. There's the Time Mage. Which, you know, just to appreciate this... I know it's getting too small to read, but... each one of these is a class. It's a lot of work that we've done so far. But you know what? It's something you can be proud of. I know I am. So, that's going to do it for today. We got the 2 done that we needed to get done. Now, the question is, what do we do next? So, the options for the next stream are... we got the Mystic, we got the Time Mage. We got the Monk, we got the Thief. Next time, we either do Dragoon and Geomancer, since those lead directly off of the Monk and Thief, or we do the Orator and Summoner. And then we'll probably have to come back. Well, then again, maybe we have to try and do Orator, Summoner, and Mathematician all at the same time. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to do the trifecta. Maybe it'll be just like an extra long stream that day. So Dragoon and Geomancer, or the Orator, Summoner, and Mathematician. The choice is up to you. So you can either leave it in the chat, leave it in the comments down below. You can leave on the Discord server there, but I will leave the choice up to you. And if you don't pick, I'm going to pick for you. And if I have to pick for you, you're not going to like it. So you do it. It's on you this time. But at any rate, I leave that to you. You can make the decision there. I don't even know if you can see this. There we go. That's probably better. But I will say this, as we're signing off here, if you want to see more of this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon here for every video when they come out. And JP says Dragoon! Well, seeing as how that's the only vote that we have right now, I guess we're doing Dragoons and Geomancers. Go figure. What's even involved in a Dragoon and a Geomancer? You go back. You go back. Let's see. Time Mage, Geomancer, Dragoon. Where the hell is the Dragoon? Oh, there it is. Dragoon, Geomancer. So Dragoons are the Lancers. They have the jump abilities. Wow. That's going to be, it's going to be the Archer all over again. I have to rebuild the entire thing from the ground up. And Geomancers have Geomancy. Sinkhole, Torrent, Hell's Ivy, Carved Model, Windslash. Well, they're basically elementalists. Ooh, actually, I got good ideas for them. Okay, so we're going to do those next week. We're going to do the Dragoon primarily, but we also get to do the Geomancers while we're there. Anyway, like I said, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, that way you get notified. If you know somebody else who's either into Final Fantasy or tabletop games in general, share this video with them. Either invite them to come with you to the streams or just, so they can learn stuff on their own. Otherwise, though, do me a favor, leave a like on the stream, leave a comment down below, leave a comment in the chat, leave a comment in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, come join the Discord. We're friendly over there. We get new people almost every day. So, do that. We'll talk later, unless you don't want to do that, in which case, we'll talk next time. I'll see you next week for the Dragoon and the Geomancer, and until then, take care.